Once upon a time, in a cozy little house, filled with the warm scent of baking bread and old books, lived a thoughtful child named Ari. One sunny afternoon, Ari's grandma, whose hands were as wrinkled and wise as the ancient oaks in the garden, placed a single, tiny seed into Ari's palm. It was no bigger than a freckle, dark and smooth, and held a secret promise of life. Ari stared at it, a universe of possibilities spinning in that small, dark speck. A grand vision bloomed in Ari's mind. "I need the absolute best pot to plant this," Ari declared, eyes wide with determination. "It has to be a shiny, brand-new pot, filled with the richest, darkest soil from the garden store. And it needs the most perfect, sun-drenched spot on the windowsill." Ari imagined a glorious, towering plant and felt that such a magnificent future deserved nothing less than a perfect beginning. "Only when everything is just right, then I'll plant it." Grandma, who was watching with a gentle, knowing smile, listened patiently. She then ambled over to the kitchen counter and picked up a simple, plain paper cup, the kind you might use for a picnic. She handed it to Ari. "This will work just fine," she said softly. "And it works today." Ari's face fell. Ari's faced the young forehead. But it's just a paper cup." "It's so plain and ordinary." Ari looked from the humble cup to the precious seed. It felt like a mismatch, like putting a diamond in a cardboard box. Grandma's smile didn't fade. She patted Ari's hand. "Plain is fine," she reassured. Seeds aren't picky about fancy labels or shiny finishes. They just want a place to start growing. Right next door, in a house just as sunny, lived Mina. Mina also had a tiny seed, a twin to Ari's. But Mina didn't spend a moment worrying about perfection. She saw an empty yogurt cup sitting on the recycling bin, rinsed it out, and saw, not trash, but an opportunity. With cheerful focus, she scooped a handful of soil from her own backyard garden. A mix of dirt and twigs and yesterday's fallen leaves. She gently pressed her seed into the soil, gave it a little drink of water from her glass, and set the yogurt cup right on her kitchen windowsill, where the morning sun would greet it. No fanfare, no quest for the perfect pot, just a simple, hopeful start. The days began to drift by like fluffy clouds. Ari's quest for the perfect pot turned into a grand expedition. Every shop was visited, every online store scrolled through. One pot was too big, another too small. This one was the wrong shade of terracotta. That one wasn't shiny enough. The just right pot remained a myth, always just out of reach. Meanwhile, next door Mina's routine was simple and steady. Every morning, she'd check on her yogurt cup. She'd touch the soil to see if it was thirsty and give it a little water. Just enough. She wasn't searching for perfection. She was nurturing what she had. Her good enough was getting better every single day. One bright morning, a joyful shout sliced through the quiet air. "Look! Oh, come and look!" It was Mina, her voice buzzing with excitement. Ari and Grandma hurried to the window that overlooked their yards. There, in Mina's yogurt cup, was a miracle. A tiny, vibrant green curl of a sprout was pushing its way up through the dark soil, unfurling itself toward the sun. This so small, yet so full of life and determination. Seeing that little green shoot, a strange feeling washed over Ari. First, a heavy feeling in the chest, a pang of regret for all the days spent searching instead of planting. The perfect pot seemed so silly now. But then, that heaviness was replaced by a surge of hope, as bright and green as Mina's little sprout. Too. The race wasn't over, it had just begun. Without another word, Ari turned from the window, picked up the plain paper cup Grandma had offered, and marched to the garden. Ari filled it with soil, not worrying if it was the best soil, just that it was soil. Then, very carefully, Ari tucked the long-held seed into its new, humble home and gave it a gentle drink of water. The cup was placed on the windowsill, right where the sun could find it. From that day on, Ari had a new morning ritual. The first thing upon waking was to visit the paper cup. Leaning in close, Ari would whisper, "Hello, little try. I hope you're having a good day in there." It wasn't about having the perfect plant anymore. It was about the simple, daily act of caring. It was about showing up, offering water, and whispering encouragement. It was an act of faith. Soon, something magical happened. Ari's own little sprout pushed its way into the world. It was a tiny green flag of victory. Before long, 2 cups stood side by side on the neighboring window. Mina's yoga cup and Ari's paper cup, both cradling new life, their green sprouts reaching for the same sun. Ari looked at the 2 little plants, then at Mina, who was waving from her window. A happy, bubbling laugh escaped Ari's lips. "You know what?" Ari called out. "The best part wasn't the shiny one in the store. The best part was the one I finally used." Sometimes, we wait for the perfect moment, the perfect tool, or the perfect plan. But life doesn't wait for perfect. It begins with a simple start, a good enough first step. So don't wait. Plant your seed now, in whatever cup you have. Care for it daily, and watch your small, brave starts grow into something wonderful. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please give it a like and subscribe for more tailies from the Garden of Life. See you next time.